In this tutorial, we're going to be asking the question, do the 4 best core exercises work? Now, what does that mean? Well, I've got a free download, which is the 4 best core exercises, and put together in a 14-day micro workout. Now, before you download that, this is the question that we want to ask, is do they work? Is it worth downloading that free download? The 4 exercises that we're going to be looking at is the plank, the side plank, the bird dog, and the bridge. Now that does a few different things, or they're doing a few different mechanisms throughout the core, which we're going to look at, and then we'll go on and look at each individual exercise and how we can make it work for you. So these 4 exercises are essentially doing 3 things for you. Number 1 is endurance, number 2 is stability, and number 3 is lumbo-pelvic control. So lumbar spine, pelvis, control. These are the things that we want to be measuring whilst we're doing these 4 exercises. And that is how we know whether they work or not, is are we measuring the effect that it's having. So what we're going to do in the next part is we're going to take each exercise and then look at what do we need to test, what do we need to measure so we can see the progress that they're making. The first exercise is the plank. Now, with regards to all the teaching points, that's all in the download. With regards to any common mistakes, that's in the download. What we want to be thinking about here is how long can we hold it for? So what sort of endurance do we have with it? Now, I put some guidelines in place about how you can do it, but you can do it in a number of different ways, which I'll show you now. So essentially what we're doing is we're coming down into the plank. Now, I won't go too much into the teaching points of it. You've got that in the download. So we come into this position and we come up into the plank. So all we need to do to start with is test it first. So we just need to sit here and hold it for as long as we can hold it. Now, you would stop when you lose the posture. So if you start to migrate hips up or if you start to migrate hips down, we want to keep a straight line all the way through. So you would stop the clock. You might give yourself 3 chances. So they go down, you lift them back up, down, lift them back up, down, lift them back up. And then the next time, finish the test. When you then go to repeat that, so you would then go through the 14-day micro workout. Now, you can either hold for 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 50 seconds, a minute. You can do it that way and then just progressively get it longer. Or you can do it another way. You can do it in blocks. Now, what that basically means is you come down, you hold for 10. You then relax for 5 and you come up for 10. But what you're looking to do is you're looking to take yourself from, if you can only do 1 block of 10 and then you fatigue and you can't do any more, you then need to build it 1 of 10, rest for 5, 1 of 5. Then 10, 5 break, and then 10. So all the way you're measuring your progress. This is how you know these 4 best exercises are working. Exercise number 2 is the plank, which can be done in a very similar way. The side plank. We would just come onto the side, but we would do exactly the same. We would hold, test it. We would then do the 14-day micro workout program over 2 weeks, and then we would retest it. But we're measuring it all the way, so we can see how much of a benefit and how much improvement we get. And when you do it, please do let me know what improvement you get. Did you go from a 30-second plank to a full minute in 14 days? Or was it 30 seconds to 45 seconds? Or was it 3 blocks of 10 to 4 blocks of 10? Or whatever it might be. Let me know in the comments below, or just send me an email once you've completed the program. So the side plank and the plank, it's about testing it, doing it, measuring it as you're doing it, and then retesting at the end. Exercise number 3 is the bridge. So what we're now doing, we've done anterior musculature with the plank. We've done lateral musculature with the side plank. What we're now doing is moving into posterior musculature with the bridge. And we're essentially doing the exact same thing. We come into this position, we bring the hips up, and we're holding. So we can again do exactly the same, squeezing here, hold for 10, relax for 5, hold for 10, relax for 5, hold for 10, relax for 5. Or we can do it in the blocks that I talked about. Again, it doesn't really matter. The main thing to know if they're working is to test, to measure, and then to retest. But what needs to happen is the test needs to be exactly the same. If you do a 30-second plank and you hold it in 1, you then need to retest by holding it in 1. It then doesn't matter if you do the test holding it for 30 seconds, then do the blocks of 10, and then you retest, but it has to be the same retest. The middle bit doesn't matter, but the retest at the end needs to be the same so you know that you've gone from 30 seconds to 45 by the end. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of how those 3 exercises work. What we'll now do is look at exercise number 4. Exercise number 4 is the bird dog. Now, this exercise is a little bit more about stability and lumbopelvic control. So we've looked at endurance with the first 3. What we're now looking at is stability, lumbopelvic control. So what we need to be thinking about now with the bird dog is how stable do the hips stay? How stable do the shoulders stay? So, for example, if we're testing it, we again need to come into the position, but we need to just do it and just know where our body goes. Are we coming up too high? Are we down too low? Are we slightly rotated? Or are we slightly up like this? That's what we need to understand. Are you wobbly? So when you come out, are you able to hold level shoulders, level hips for 10 seconds or 15 seconds? And then same on the other side. So if you can hold it for 5, then you get wobbly, that's something to make note of. So if you can hold it, and then when you retest at the end, you can hold the whole thing without wobbling for 10 seconds, you've got improvement in stability and lumbopelvic control. So all the way through, you need to be thinking about setting that test up at the start. So holding a plank, holding a side plank, holding a bridge, marking down the times. With the bird dog, it's looking at the times which are stable and looking at the times at which you're starting to wobble. What we then do is do our 14-day micro workout, and then we go and retest everything at the end. We see the improvements, and then we know that they've worked. So that is how you know whether the 4 best exercises for core strength and stability are working. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from Chris Pole Training. I'll speak to you in the next tutorial.